everyone. Welcome. We got in the house Mr. Philip Townsend, who's keeping me straight on the technologies here lately.
Oh yeah,
But
right.
you know, uh, Phil, we were just talking, man, and the reason I wanted to do this show tonight, uh, I spent some time at both Judson and Wagner, and then trying to get in touch with Coach Perez to schedule time over at Veterans Memorial.
Uh-huh.
But with and we were just talking about this with all three of those high schools used to be one high school. So this pipeline of talent that has come out of the Judson, the Wagner, and Veterans Memorial pipeline is really all from one community, and that's just surprising.
Well, see, being new to this, Kev, I didn't know that until you told me. So
Mhm.
that's really amazing.
Yeah, back before Wagner came out of Judson, they used to have a blue campus, a red campus, and a gray campus, and so it was like different campuses. But no, man, when you think about it, we got um, Robinson that came out of Wagner and Jordan Clarkson, both in the NBA,
Oh yeah.
past NBA. Um, we have others. Tristan Clark, his career got derailed with the injuries while he was at Baylor, or he would have been at least an overseas guy.
Uh-huh.
So but there's a lot of rich history, and going through and preparing this week, uh, I really just wanted to kind of talk over what Judson as a whole, contains with it basketball wise. And, in the following weeks, we'll talk about, Steele, Clemens, and East Central. We'll talk about the Northeast, the North Side, the Southwest, all of the
Yeah.
different.
I mean, that way nobody has to feel left out. We're gonna get to
Uh,
that.
yes. And, right off the bat, thinking about what's the biggest storyline out of Judson ISD right now, man. Uh, you know, eh, there's players always, but this seems to have
Yeah.
a champion, a state title run in amongst one, maybe two out of the three. I know that Judson looks really strong. Uh,
Right.
Guards, wings, length. And this is Coach Cantu's second year. And he really has put his fingerprint on that program. And then we're going to talk about coach point guard relationship, but we talk about Coach Clark over Wagner being one of the only coaches that has put in a college prospect, a youngster in college every year of his time in San Antonio. And then we pull over to Venice Memorial with Coach Perez, and they had two, maybe three state run. I want to say it's three runs to the Final Four in a row. And he's got players that were at Concordia, where I think Dennis Dodd is up at Wyoming right now. So he's not lacking any credentials in any kind of way, with the Veterans Memorial program. So I think that's.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, go ahead, Kev. Finish. I saw you do a take deep breath, so I was just gonna
Oh no, I just
come
really
in.
think that's a storyline. Like, what are they all three going to succeed? Well, they can't because Wagner and Veterans are in the same district. But they could both make a deep run. I mean, last year you had Brennan and Harlan from the same district. You know, both end up in the regional finals. But
Right, right. But you know what I think, Kevin, when you get into talking about these successful programs you just mentioned and all, but it just shows you that there's different ways to get there. Like, I know you talk about the coaching dynamics and how they differ the way that they get, their points across
mm,
to the kids. And so it just, it shows that you can be successful more than one way. and they're doing a great job at that.
They do, and each program seems to have a different personality, and that personality, comes off from the head coach on all the way down. And it's interesting, man, because and we're going to talk and get into some specifics, uh, you know, about players and coaches, But one thing, you know, I want to talk about when we're talking about culture and talking about leadership, and but who's setting the tone leadership wise across these three programs? And to be quite honest with you, I believe it's the point guards, and each one of them, DJ Jordan, defensive minded, shoots the ball, distributes the ball. Red at Judson gets paint touches, distributes the ball, plays defense. But the one that I don't think is really talked about enough is Damian Ramirez at Wagner. You know, Damian waited his turn. He had some guys in front of him. Doesn't mean he waited patiently. He worked his way into the games, and I just think he has a calming influence. You know, we're talking about personalities and Coach Clark, a demanding, at times loud, but I think Damien's coolness and composure allows that to free flow into the team. And so you think about you know Coach Cantu and Red, they're very too cerebral. Uh, like Coach Cantu's very cerebral, very collected, very calm, and I think Red personifies that as well.
Yeah, but I know that you are super duper high on Red, but could you let us know what his name is?
Oh, Jalen, Jalen Crittenden.
Exactly. And
Exactly.
I would tell you all, Kevin is not a late bloomer when it comes to Jalen. He has been in his corner for a while, and I'm telling you, that's his. That's one of his main guys. So
It's
when you
funny.
see Red doing his thing, let's not act like the one our scout didn't call it early on.
Yeah, we got an interesting relationship because I met Red when he was in fourth grade, and so saw him through developmental times, and it was interesting. Me and his dad John were talking the other day, and in eighth grade, at the end of eighth grade, going to ninth grade, uh, Mr. John told me that he wanted to was looking at getting over to in Kansas somehow, and what was the game plan, and that I've always said junior college. I've talked to Red about junior college, the goods, the bad, and I think that he's got several amazing offers, NAIA full ride, full paid for, uh, and he's got several junior college opportunities. So it's just going to be interesting how it plays out. Because
Yeah.
on the flip side, DJ um, has several opportunities. He's got an offer to New Mexico Highlands, and what's interesting, man, if you go into New Mexico or El Paso, uh, if you're looking Division 2, that is the place to go. New Mexico High, and then have you heard of him?
Well, yeah, I remember I was mentioning about, I believe that one of the guys on another show that
Oh
we used to do,
yes, yes.
his son went there. Yeah.
And Damon, man, he's starting to gain traction. I know Coach Clark said he's gonna be good uh, as far as the opportunities. I know he's taken a couple of visits here and around, and so it's been good, man. That part's been good. I've been a part of his family as well. Great people, you know. But
Excellent.
you know, I think that parents, players, and coaches at each program, you know, what they're going to look for, you know, um, guard play is going to be key at Judson High School. You know, veterans, they're going to have great forwards and Jamaica Moore and Clark. And when you're talking about Wagner, you know, Trey Clark, extremely versatile, extremely athletic, and he does a great job blocking shots, rebounding, getting the ball to the floor. And then, of course, you know, we're talking about the underrated Damon Ramirez and what he's going to get a chance to do. But I do want to say this, man. We started this conversation, uh, and then me and Coach Willie picked it up. Uh, if you had to pick, if I was going to pick a starting five out of Judson ISD, you know, because we think about it, they all were part of one school. Um, I believe I would take my forwards would be from Veterans Memorial. I would take Zidon and Jamaica both. Um, a small forward or three, I would take Trey Clark. And then when we're talking about the person that I think has made the biggest improvement in the offseason is hands down Gerald O'Neill. Um, I remember seeing him and throughout the summer. He got back toward later in the end of the summer, and man, I saw him uh, at St. Mary's at the team camp, and some of the early season stuff. I was telling him, man, that's a different looking guy right now. And then right after that, he picked up an offer to A&M Kingsville, and I don't think he slowed down since. And you know, pair him up with Red, Jalen Crittenden in the backcourt. Man, I think you got a fearsome fighting team. Um, you know, if I had to,
So
mhm.
so you think he's going to be he's going to be starting over Proctor and going into that?
Well, I mean, that's who I would pick out of that starting five. I mean, out of those three teams, you
Uh huh.
know, and that's going based upon what I like. I like defense.
Right.
You know, I like rebounding, um, and I like a point guard that can get paint touches and distribute. And I think that's the biggest key that Jalen does is is getting to the paint because one of the things we talk about is who do you want the ball in their hands at the end if you need a one possession, you know,
Right.
one score, and I'm putting the ball in Jalen's hands because I think he's going to get to the paint and he's going to look for somebody who's open, and I think that's what separates him from a lot of point guards. Uh, when you start talking about who's a point guard, who's a combo guard, um, I think the difference is one looks for the shot and the opportunity to score, while the other one is working to keep everybody else involved. You know, and I think um, DJ kind of fits that. I haven't seen Damian run a team on his own very much to kind of get a feel for what that's going to look like. But I would venture to say he's going to be more of a traditional point guard because they both came out of the same AAU program, him and DJ. Uh, Man, my mind just went blank. But um, you know, so they're gonna play the same. Texas hard work. That's who it was. I was gonna be upset myself. Um, you know, but moving on down. You know, um, I think the players that we mentioned, they they all embodied uh, toughness, IQ, and two-way impact. And I think each of the five for different reasons. You know, um, Trey and the forward Zion and Jermichael, they both have wingspan and those types of things, um, and they all like to get up and down the court. You know, Gerald O'Neill, he him and Red alongside each other, And
Right.
that's two dogs on defense, and so that's been really impressive to watch grow as those two have grown closer together um, throughout this maturation process. You know, and then I was thinking, well, who would be a glue guy, as a six-man role? And I really think there got two options here. One, I like Damon in that role because he's been that six man at times. He's fulfilled all the little gaps in the offense because there were different people leading the charge, and he was able to do that. But I also think one
I'm
thing,
sorry. Did you say you like Quentin in that role?
no, Damon Ramirez,
Oh, damn. Okay.
yeah. But the one that I think is gets overlooked in all this Judson ISD madness is Jordan Taylor. He's 6'3". He's a senior, and man, he just really competes, uh, fights every day, and I think that he's gonna get an outside shot at playing at the next level. I just think like he does so much for the team and never really expects anything out of it, you know. Um, but and hearing all of that, you know, I think who would you say? I mean, I think it's pretty obvious, but do you feel like Trey Clark brings the most defensive utility?
Well, Kev, I would say so, but my thing is, I want to get back to your top five,
Mm-hmm.
right, that you picked, and ask you if they're in a game, how do you think your firepower is going to be matching up with some of, you know?
Well, so I thought about that, and I think that with the length and athleticism of the forwards, you know, I think they're going to rebound. I think they're going to get out and run. I Zidane has become very crafty in the paint, free throw line extended, um, to be able to be a reliable scorer. I think Jermichael was another one that had a big offseason. Like, I don't feel like he came back the same player. Uh, he, I, he has always picked up defensively and guarded 2 through 4, 2 through 5. But what I noticed this year that I haven't seen from him in the past is his 3 point percentage was average, but the confidence to take it. But then the next thing was I watched in amazement as he was ball faking, pump faking, shot faking, and then going blind. That's something that I don't really know that he had in his arsenal last year, and so that's what gives me the comfort level of saying that I think the front court can defend and score.
Uh huh.
Trey, Trey can play inside out. Um, if you give him a crease, he's taking you to the rim, and he's going to put you in the rim. He's got a above average to average 3 point shot. So he's not afraid to step out and take it. Like he's been the man at Wagner for a while. Um, he's been at the USA camps. He's been all over. So I feel like very confident in him at that point. And then the two, the Gerald O'Neal and what he's brought to the table this year and improved outside shot, but
Hmm.
more of a Tasmanian devil type attitude on defense. I mean, uh, to watch him fly around and really throw his body around, it's been very impressive. And then, Jalen's going to turn people over. Um, he's got a great shot selection. Sometimes I wish he shot the ball more, um, but he's going to make sure everybody's involved. And I think that's
Yeah.
that
Keeping everybody happy.
right now as we go around in our shows later on as we get ready for the season, and we start talking about a grouping of like an East Central, a Steel, and a Clemens, right?
Right.
We pull to put a dynamic five out of that group. Uh, I mean, Brennan kind of stands alone with their own with with their own starting five, but that'll be interesting too, like to go and pull different pieces from different schools within those districts.
Yeah, but that'll be really good when the season starts,
Yeah.
and we're getting some live action look, and then jot down who what we think will mix. Not
Hmm.
this is necessarily going for the guy that's deemed the best player.
Hmm.
This is going to be putting together a good powerhouse team to where they'll work off of each other really
Yeah.
well. So that's
Yeah.
that's going to be good.
And I do want to give a shout out to Jazzy Scott uh, from Harlan, Giselle Scott. Like she committed to Grayson over the last few days, and then big 6'11" Delano Tarkley from Brennan committed to UTEP today. I think it was today. Uh, and so we're working on getting Delano on one of the watch list interviews, and they just hasn't our schedules hasn't meshed yet. Um, and when we're talking about we're putting ourselves in the different high school programs to build relationships, and coming up this week we'll be at Alamo Heights, and we've got a keen interest in Alex Elliott and Jack Brewer. Both of them had big years. One's a junior, one's a senior. Alex is senior, and then I've been in talk, emailing back and forth with Coach Palacios at Warren. I want to get out and see Big Noah, Devin Peterson going into senior year, and then they have a young man, uh, 6'9". Man, I'm not gonna mess up his name, so I think we'll get it another time, and I'm sorry for that. But now I want to go out there and see what he's got, and we're just gonna keep marching our way through the city, uh, trying to leave no stone unturned, as they would say.
Yeah, but Kev, what I'd love to see at Alamo Heights is that weight room.
Yes. Yeah.
What I wa- I want to see if they have a special nutritional table set up, because I will tell you, these guys have some hops on that team.
I talked with Coach Brewer about that, and just off the record, just talking, and um, he was saying how that's mostly his assistants. Like he allows them to take over, you know, those roles, and but it really has paid off
Yeah,
in a major way, And I think the script has been written on how to improve verticality. You know, I'm not a trainer person by any means, but whether that's strengthening different hips, different joints, whatever, the book is definitely out because they were jumping
yeah,
like that when I was in high school, you know. But yeah, that's one thing that does interest me. Um, and then you know, looking on down and talking about how these guys, I like to envision Judson uh, ISD as as the old Judson when nobody wanted to play him when they were in football, and just that gritty toughness. And so that kind of leads me to my next thing is how does toughness really translate after high school? You know, this is a time of year that I want to caution parents with freshmen in college, especially college basketball. This is going to be the time of year where you start getting phone calls about being homesick, about coach don't like me, about this shit's too hard. because I've been fielding them from guys across the country. And the thing about it is, you chose that place for a reason. You chose a place because they were going to grow you into what you desired to be. And so just shut up and stay and just keep working because you went there for a reason. Now, that being said, the toughness. All right, so there's several key factors. Right, some kids are tough because they don't they don't come from much and they don't want to go back home. Right, and so when you walk into a situation as a freshman, as a sophomore, you're trying to get minutes. Okay, so you're trying to take the food out of a grown man's mouth if you're taking his minutes and he winds up getting cut. Right, so you have two forces going on right there, and then you have to fight through that and be uh, tough enough intentional fortitude to last. I think the next thing is some guys are just tough because they're tough naturally. But there's one thing that kid freshmen forget. You might have been the man on your high school team scoring 40 points a game. But damn, everybody was the man in high school once you get to college. So what are you going to do to impact the game other than that? You know, and I think that's a hard part. You know,
Well, also, Kevin, there's that embarrassment factor that you couldn't make it,
yes,
and to look at coming back and facing not just your peers, but your friends, people that'll be around you, clowning you
hmm
about that. You know,
yeah,
uh, so yeah, so it's interesting. But let me say this, people: there are legitimate reasons to say I'm out of here.
yes,
I have one of those.
mm,
Yes, I, you know, so there is a legitimate thing. I walked out of a place after a day. I went there because one, I was the only player they had recruited in the state. Two, it was a new program, and the reason I was only there a day is because of the insulting way in which they handled me when it came to the academics portion of it. To literally ask me if I could add two plus two, and I would, what are you talking about? I said, didn't you see my transcript?
mm,
I mean, you know, and then to say, okay, well, he can do that. So let's go ahead and put him in so and so's class. Then they literally said they asked me like, how was my spelling, or just
mhm.
silly stuff, and they said they had. I thought this was always a joke, but they literally said we'll put him in so and so's basket weaving class. What? You talk about insulted. I, you know, I let me
yeah,
say, why did I stay in Oklahoma? Kansas Wesleyan, here I come. That's what. But no, I didn't. I just ended up doing what I really wanted to do, and that was to go to the service. And so I ended up really getting to do that. Yeah.
yeah. It's interesting because when I finished playing basketball, I knew I wasn't a man, and so I joined the service. Just to I needed to become more mature. You know, um, as we kind of wrap this up a little bit, if you if you got the opportunity to send one message directly to these players, I want you to tell me what you think. What would you tell them?
Um, I tell them to always be alert because someone is always watching, and that's not just being alert on the court. That's being alert when you're around the school in other areas of the school. That's when you're out in public life.
Mm-hmm.
always, always be alert to not just what's going on around you, but how you are carrying yourself. Because somebody else is watching you. There
Yeah.
may be someone that knows who you are that you don't know. And with the way that cameras are so prevalent in today's society, you don't want to be that guy that everyone thinks of as just this great, outstanding person. And then someone shoots one little thing of you that really could be misconstrued, right?
Hmm.
But you don't get the opportunity to explain it how it really is. Not until it's traveled around in a lot of bad light first. So just be alert and aware of what you're doing at all times.
Well, I guess I went a little bit different, you know, coming from uh, with the expectations from the community, expectations of being at these championship caliber programs. Uh, I just want to really impress upon only one, only one expectation, you know, and that's to play hard, play smart, and defend like hell. And if you do all those things, good things are going to happen. You know, so just right quick, so people know what we're doing this Saturday. Um, I'm gonna head down to watch Wagner, Clemens, Harlan, and Stony Point in the morning on Saturday. So if anyone is scrimmaging in the afternoon here in San Antonio, go ahead and send me a message or DM at Kevin One Eye at KevinOneeye, and we'll see if we can get over there and watch you play. For the One Eye Scout and for my man Phil, until next week, we're out.